The unknown threat. It was a peaceful day on Earth, or at least that's how it seemed. The sun rose in the sky, the cities bustled with life, and the hum of everyday human activities filled the air. People walked through their daily routines, unaware of the incredible events unfolding far beyond their planet. Earth was a small speck in the vast, infinite universe, and humanity had long since convinced themselves that they were alone. Or so they thought. The first sign of something wrong came quietly. A strange signal was picked up by one of Earth's most powerful space stations. A beacon floating in the deep reaches of space. It wasn't much, just a few unrecognized bursts of electromagnetic radiation, but enough for Earth scientists to take notice. At first, they assumed it was a random signal from a distant star or perhaps a malfunction from one of their own satellites. But as the days passed, the signal became clearer and its pattern grew more deliberate. It was coming from somewhere far beyond their understanding. Dr. Ethan Callaway, one of Earth's leading astrophysicists, was the first to see the potential danger. The signal wasn't random, it was directed, and it was getting closer. This isn't just space noise, he told his colleagues, his voice low with unease. This is someone trying to reach us. His words set off a ripple of concern. Could it be a sign of intelligent life, a new discovery that would change everything, or was it something far more dangerous? As the signal continued, Earth's leaders were alerted. At first, they were skeptical, dismissing it as a misinterpretation or just the usual cosmic static. But the repeated bursts and their growing intensity left them no choice. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every corner of the world gathered in secret, unsure of what they were facing. If this was indeed an alien message, it was unlike anything they had ever expected. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe, but they had never seriously considered the possibility of a threat so far beyond their own. The initial assumption was that the signal was a message, perhaps a peaceful communication, a sign that other civilizations were out there waiting to make contact. But as days turned into weeks, it became clear that this was not a simple greeting. The message was a warning. The closer the signal got, the more urgent it became. The scientists at the space stations worked around the clock, trying to decode the message, but it seemed to be written in a language they couldn't understand. A code too complex for even their best technology to crack. Then, one night, it came. A message so clear, so chilling, that it sent a wave of fear through the world. The signal broke through the static, and for the first time, the words were unmistakable. Do not attack the humans, they will hunt you across the stars. The transmission ended as abruptly as it had begun. It was a simple message, but its implications were anything but simple. Who had sent it? What did it mean? And why had it been directed at humanity? The world was in shock. The message was clear. There was an alien threat out there. But the tone of the warning raised even more questions. Why would anyone warn others about humanity? What was it about Earth and its people that made them so dangerous? No one could answer these questions. But one thing was certain: their peaceful existence was about to be shattered. As the days passed, fear spread across the globe. Governments scrambled to respond. Some called for action, believing the warning was a ruse to keep humanity complacent, while others feared that the aliens had already set their sights on Earth. There was no way of knowing whether the message was a sign of an impending invasion or just a warning from an advanced race. But the world couldn't ignore it. Military leaders, once certain that Earth was far removed from any galactic conflict, began to reconsider their plans. Satellite systems were put on high alert, and every corner of the globe became a potential target. Earth's defenses, while advanced, were nowhere near prepared for an alien invasion. Even the most powerful weapons that humanity had developed were insignificant in the face of the unknown forces they were now being warned about. At the same time, Dr. Callaway and his team of scientists were working tirelessly to decode the message further, hoping to find more answers. They discovered a pattern in the signal, suggesting that it had been sent by someone who had knowledge of Earth's history, perhaps someone or something that had been watching them for a long time. But the more they dug into the message, the more it became clear. This was not just a warning, it was a declaration. Earth was being watched, and the aliens knew more about humanity than they were letting on. As the world braced for what was to come, General Claire Hastings, one of Earth's top military commanders, was called into action. She was tasked with organizing Earth's defense. But the more she studied the situation, the more she realized how unprepared they were. "We're out of our depth," she said, standing before a room of military strategists. "Whatever is out there, it's not like anything we've faced before." The alien warning hung over them like a dark cloud, growing heavier with each passing day. Humanity had always thought of itself as isolated, safe in its corner of the universe. But that illusion was now gone. They had been thrust into a galactic Conflict, one that could wipe out their entire species, and the worst part was, they didn't even know who their enemy was. Asterisk, the alien encounter. It had been weeks since the chilling transmission was received, and yet the silence that followed felt even more unnerving. Earth's governments had mobilized, but no further communications had been made by the unknown alien race. It was as if they had been waiting for something, biding their time. While the world prepared for an unknown fate, the feeling of impending doom weighed heavily on humanity's shoulders. The message was still fresh in everyone's minds: do not attack the humans. They will hunt you across the stars. General Claire Hastings had worked day and night to prepare Earth's defenses. But deep down, she knew it wouldn't be enough. The warning wasn't just about Earth's power, it was about something much deeper. Humanity had no idea what it had just become a part of, and neither did the aliens. What was the connection between Earth and the galactic powers that now seemed to take an interest in them? Days turned into restless nights as Earth's most brilliant minds tried to decrypt the signals further. But every attempt fell short. No answers came, no insight into who was watching, or why they'd chosen now to send a warning. And then, one day, it happened. The first sign of the alien presence was something that no one on Earth was prepared for. Without any prior warning, a massive, dark shape appeared in the skies. It wasn't a flash of light or a distant glow, it was a massive, imposing object that seemed to consume the very air around it. It appeared so suddenly that it left the entire world frozen in place, staring up at the heavens in disbelief. For a brief moment, there was a collective silence across the planet as millions of eyes turned to the sky. The object was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Its shape was vast and asymmetrical, its surface shimmering with a strange, almost liquid-like texture, and a deep blue light pulsated from within. It seemed to move effortlessly, like a shadow in the sky, casting an ominous presence over everything. Before Earth's military could react, the object emitted a shockwave, a hum that vibrated through the air, sending tremors through the ground. It was a warning, but this one was real. This was not just a message. This was the beginning of the alien encounter that had been foretold. As the shockwave passed, a loud, clear voice echoed across the globe. It wasn't through radio transmission. It wasn't through the usual means of communication. It was as if the voice was inside everyone's mind, penetrating the thoughts of all who heard it. Humans, we have come, and you will answer for what you have awakened. The voice was cold, emotionless, yet it carried a weight that chilled the soul. The world held its breath. There was no mistaking it. Earth had just made contact with the alien forces. Across the globe, chaos erupted. Panic spread like wildfire as governments scrambled to make sense of the situation. Military bases were put on high alert, and emergency protocols were enacted. Leaders met in haste, trying to form a united front, but deep down, they all understood one harsh truth: Earth was no longer just a quiet planet on the edge of the galaxy. It was now a target. General Hastings was among the first to speak with the leaders of Earth's military forces. As the meeting began, a sense of urgency filled the room. "This is not a drill," she said, her voice steady but filled with concern. "We need to face this head on, but we don't even know who they are. We don't understand what they want, but we need to be ready if they are here. They're here for a reason." Her words carried a weight that seemed to settle over the room. Earth had always been peaceful, had always thought it was safe, but now that peace was shattered. What did this alien force want with Earth? What was it about humanity that made them so important to these galactic invaders? Then came the second shock. The alien ship began to descend, slowly, carefully. It wasn't heading toward any specific city or landmark. It was coming down in the middle of the vast ocean, a safe location, away from the chaos of civilization. Yet, its presence was overwhelming. Like a shadow that stretched across the horizon, the ship hovered just above the water, its massive size dwarfing everything around it. The calmness of its descent only added to the eeriness of the moment. Humanity had no idea what would happen next. At the same time, Dr. Ethan Calloway and his team of scientists attempted to track the alien ship's signals. They knew it wasn't just a display of power, it was part of the aliens' plan. But what was that plan? Hours passed, but no movement came from the ship. It remained still, as though waiting for something or someone. And then, as the ship finally settled above the ocean, a new transmission came through. This time, it wasn't a voice. It was a series of holographic images projected into the sky for all to see. They depicted a galaxy vast and alive, full of stars, planets, and spacefaring civilizations. In the center of the galaxy was Earth, surrounded by a growing red light. "You have awakened something," the voice returned. "The war that has been fought for centuries is now at your doorstep, and the universe has already chosen its side." The images dissolved into a flash of light, and the voice fell silent. The sky above Earth was filled with a deep, unnatural darkness. As though the entire world had been plunged into uncertainty, the time for diplomacy had passed. The time for answers had passed, and now, Earth was standing on the precipice of a war that no one had ever seen coming. Humanity had been warned, but the true test was yet to come. How would Earth face an unknown enemy that had been watching them from the stars? And how would they fight back? The hidden power of humanity. Days that followed the alien ship's arrival were filled with a mix of fear, confusion, and a growing sense of urgency. The world had never been so united or so vulnerable. Despite the unity Earth's leaders had tried to build, the unknown alien threat loomed over them like a dark cloud, casting doubt on every decision. What did the aliens want? Why had they come? And most pressing of all, why had they chosen now to show themselves? As the alien ship remained perched over the ocean, Earth's government scrambled to devise a plan. In cities around the world, people whispered in fear, and rumors of the alien message spread faster than the authorities could silence them. But one thing was certain: humanity had underestimated its place in the grand scheme of the universe. General Claire Hastings watched the feed from Earth's military command center, her eyes never leaving the images of the hovering alien vessel. There was something unsettling about the calmness of the situation. It felt like the silence before a storm, the sense that whatever was coming would change everything forever. "I don't care about their technology," she said to her team. "We've faced enemies before. What I'm worried about is what they said. The universe has already chosen its side. Why us? Why now?" The words echoed in her mind as if they were a riddle no one could solve. Earth was supposed to be just another speck in the vastness of the cosmos, insignificant, isolated, and unimportant. So why were these invaders coming for them? What made humanity a target in this galactic war? Meanwhile, Dr. Ethan Calloway, the lead scientist on Earth's interstellar research team, had been working tirelessly to decode the transmission from the alien ship. Hours of analyzing complex data had led to one unexpected conclusion: it wasn't just the message that had disturbed him, it was the technology hidden within it. Despite humanity's greatest scientific achievements, there was something in the alien signal that didn't make sense. "Claire," Dr. Calloway called over the comms, "you need to hear this." "I think I've found the answer." General Hastings walked into the research room where Dr. Calloway had set up his station. The room was filled with the soft hum of computers and monitors displaying alien data, strange patterns that couldn't be deciphered by any earthly algorithm. "What have you found?" she asked, her voice steady, yet laced with anxiety. Dr. Calloway pointed to one of the screens. "This transmission, it's more than just a message. It's a map, but it's not a map of space, it's a map of us." General Hastings blinked, trying to process his words. "A map of us? What are you talking about?" "This," Calloway continued, "is a map of humanity's genetic structure. It's embedded in the signal, a pattern hidden within the codes that shows a precise sequence of human DNA. What the aliens have been monitoring is not just Earth, it's our people. More specifically, it's something that's embedded deep within our biology." Hastings stared at the screen, a sinking feeling in her chest. "Are you saying they've been studying us? For how long? I don't know yet, but I'm starting to think this is why they warned us. Humanity is not just a random collection of life forms, we're part of something much bigger. And the aliens, they know that." The revelation was staggering. Earth had always thought of itself as insignificant in the grand scope of the universe. Yet here was evidence that humanity had some kind of importance that had been overlooked for centuries. But why? And what exactly was this hidden power in human DNA that had attracted the attention of a galactic empire? Before Dr. Calloway could elaborate further, another message came through from the alien ship. This time, it was not a voice or a transmission of words. It was a display, a hologram projected high above Earth's cities for all to see. The world watched as the image took shape, an ancient, cosmic map showing the far reaches of space. At the center of the map, glowing in a pulsating blue, was Earth. "The map has shifted," Calloway said, his voice tinged with shock. "It's targeting Earth specifically. Look, it's showing our world as a key to something." The message that accompanied the hologram was brief, but terrifying. "The cycle is complete. You have awakened what should have stayed hidden. Humanity holds the key to the next phase." As the hologram faded, Hastings turned to face Dr. Calloway, her expression hardening. "They're not just here to conquer, they're here because we've become something they need." It wasn't just Earth that was being watched, it was humanity. Their biological makeup, their genetic code, held the key to something much older than any of them had ever realized. But what was this next phase, and what did the aliens intend to do with humanity's genetic legacy? In the following days, as Earth's leaders and military strategists wrestled with these questions, it became clear that the stakes had shifted. Earth wasn't just facing an invasion, it was facing a war for its very essence. The aliens didn't care about conquering the planet. They cared about controlling what Earth's people carried within them. The war that was about to unfold was not just a battle for Earth's survival. It was a battle for the survival of humanity's unique gift. Dr. Calloway gathered a team of scientists, each one more determined than the last, to uncover the truth behind this mysterious legacy. With every test, every experiment, the answers became clearer. But with clarity came more questions. Who had created humanity's hidden power? And why were the aliens so desperate to harness it? As General Hastings stood on the front lines, preparing for the inevitable battle, she couldn't shake the feeling that Earth had just become part of something much larger. A cosmic game whose rules were far beyond anything they could have imagined, and the most terrifying part was that Earth had no idea how to play it. The secrets beneath Earth's surface, as the days grew darker and the tension mounted, Earth's understanding of the alien threat only deepened. Dr. Calloway and his team worked relentlessly, poring over every piece of data they could extract from the alien transmissions. The more they discovered, the more they realized the true scope of the power they were dealing with. Humanity's genetic code, it seemed, held the key to an ancient mystery, one that the aliens had been trying to unlock for centuries. This wasn't just about power or technology, it was about the very essence of life itself. Earth's inhabitants carried within them the remnants of a cosmic experiment that spanned across galaxies. Humanity's creation wasn't random. It was part of a deliberate design, a legacy left behind by a race long forgotten. The aliens, with their superior technology and vast knowledge of the universe, had known this all along. They had been watching Earth for millennia, waiting for the moment when humanity's true potential would awaken. Now that the time had come, they were determined to seize control of that power, no matter the cost. But there was one problem. Earth's secret was buried deep within the planet itself. After weeks of research and analysis, Dr. Calloway discovered a series of ancient symbols hidden beneath the Earth's surface. The symbols, encoded within Earth's magnetic field, pointed to a vast underground network of tunnels and chambers that had been left untouched for eons. These were no ordinary structures, these were remnants of an ancient civilization, one that had vanished long before humanity had ever appeared. The message was clear: the key to understanding humanity's origin and its destiny was buried deep beneath Earth's surface. But finding it wouldn't be easy. The tunnels were hidden, obscured by natural barriers and thousands of years of geological shifts. It would take everything Earth's finest minds had to offer to uncover the truth. That Dr. Calloway turned to General Hastings with his findings. This is it. If we're going to understand why the aliens are after us, we need to get to the heart of Earth itself. The key they're looking for is buried beneath our feet. General Hastings, who had spent the past weeks planning a military defense, paused for a moment, absorbing the gravity of the situation. The war had always seemed like a battle for survival. But now it was clear, this wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about protecting something far more valuable. The aliens weren't interested in conquering Earth for its resources or strategic value. They were here for the power that Earth's people unknowingly carried within them. The very thing that made humanity unique was now the reason for their greatest threat. Then we dig, Hastings said, her voice steady but resolute, and we do it fast, soon. A global effort was underway to find the ancient structures beneath Earth's surface. Teams of scientists, archaeologists, and military engineers worked together to excavate the tunnels. But as they dug deeper, the air grew thick with tension. Each new discovery seemed to raise more questions than answers. And with every step they took closer to the heart of the planet, the more they realized just how little they knew about their own origins. The deeper they went, the more the world seemed to shift beneath them. The tunnels were not just ancient, they were alive, pulsating with an energy that none of Earth's technology could explain. The walls glowed faintly with a blue light, and strange symbols appeared to move, shifting as if responding to their presence. It was as if the planet itself was trying to communicate with them. As the excavation teams reached the final chamber, the air grew colder, the atmosphere felt charged, as if they were standing on the threshold of a secret that had been kept from humanity for millennia. The chamber before them was vast, its walls lined with strange, crystalline structures that hummed with an otherworldly energy. At the center of the chamber, lying dormant but undeniably powerful, was a large object. It was spherical in shape, its surface covered in the same strange symbols they had seen throughout the tunnels. The object radiated a deep, mysterious energy that seemed to pull at the very fabric of space around it. This is it, Dr. Calloway whispered, his voice filled with awe. This is the core of Earth's secret. This is what they've been looking for. But just as the team moved closer to examine the object, a voice echoed in their minds, a voice that was not theirs yet. Somehow familiar, you have found it. But you will not be allowed to keep it. The voice was cold and distant. As if coming from the very core of the planet itself, the ground trembled, and the walls of the chamber shifted, as if reacting to the presence of the object. Before anyone could react, the chamber began to collapse. The object at the center pulsed with energy, sending shockwaves through the tunnels. The team scrambled to escape, but the tunnels were unstable, collapsing in on themselves. The last thing Dr. Calloway saw before the darkness overtook him was the glowing orb, now more intense than ever, its energy swirling in the air like a vortex. The cosmic gamut aftermath of the tunnel collapse left Earth's leaders and scientists in a state of shock. Dr. Calloway, General Hastings, and the rest of the excavation team barely escaped with their lives. But the truth they had uncovered was too dangerous to ignore. The massive spherical object they had found beneath Earth was no ordinary relic. It was, in every sense, a key to unlocking a hidden power, one that had been dormant for centuries. But it wasn't just Earth's power at stake now. It was the balance of the galaxy itself. The alien message that echoed in their minds before the collapse haunted Dr. Calloway. You have found it, but you will not be allowed to keep it. It wasn't just a threat, it was a statement of fact. The aliens had known about the object for far longer than humanity had. They had been watching Earth, waiting for the moment when humanity would discover the truth about its origins, and now that moment had come. In the wake of the collapse, Earth's governments convened once more. The alien ships, still hovering ominously in Earth's skies, had grown in number. The threat was no longer subtle, it was looming, immediate, and impossible to ignore. But there was something more in the air now. The alien invasion wasn't just about taking Earth. It was about taking what humanity had discovered, something that could change the course of the entire universe. Dr. Calloway's research revealed that the object they had uncovered was part of an ancient network, spanning across galaxies, designed by a long-forgotten race of beings. This race, known only as the Ancients, had seeded various planets with the building blocks of life, including Earth. But what made humanity different was its genetic composition, its potential to unlock the full power of these ancient devices. It wasn't just that humanity's DNA contained the key to unimaginable power. It was the way they would use that power. The aliens, driven by their own motives, needed to control the object. To them, it was the final piece of a cosmic puzzle that had been in play for millennia. But the problem was, Earth's people didn't know how to use it, not yet. As Earth's military prepared for the worst, General Hastings sat in a command room with her top officers. We've been fighting blindly, she said, her voice firm but laced with frustration. We don't understand what we're up against. The aliens know the power they want, but they're not telling us what it is. They're playing a game with us, one that we're only beginning to understand. Dr. Calloway had discovered that the alien race didn't see this as a simple invasion. The aliens were here to force humanity into a role they had been created for, a role in the larger galactic game. The universe, it seemed, was not just a chaotic expanse of stars, it was a battlefield where races fought not only for survival but for control of cosmic power. And humanity, whether they knew it or not, was at the center of it all. But the aliens had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy: humanity's unpredictability. While humanity had spent centuries focused on surviving within their small corner of the universe, they had never considered that they were being watched by far more ancient, more powerful beings. But now that Earth had awakened to its potential, the stakes had shifted. The battle wasn't just for control of Earth, it was for control of the very forces that govern life and death across the stars. As Earth's resistance rallied, new alliances began to form. Dr. Calloway, in a desperate move, reached out to an unlikely ally, a faction of alien defectors who had fled from the very empire that now threatened Earth. These defectors, having once served the alien invaders, knew their tactics, their strategies, and most importantly, their weaknesses. One of them, a former general of the alien army, stepped forward to offer crucial information. The object you found, he said, his voice low and gravely, is a power core, a vessel that can alter the fundamental laws of the universe. The aliens know that if you control it, you control everything, but they also know something that you don't. The core must be activated in a very specific way. He paused, as if weighing the consequences of what he was about to say. The alien forces want to use your people to do that because only you can activate it. But once it is activated, everything changes. The very fabric of space-time will unravel, and if you don't understand how to wield it, you won't just lose Earth, you'll lose the entire galaxy. The information was staggering. Earth was no longer just fighting for survival, it was fighting for the entire universe's future. The alien forces knew that if they could control the core, they could reshape the universe to their will, altering the laws of physics, rewriting the very essence of life. But even as the resistance grew stronger, with new alliances and information fueling their efforts, General Hastings knew that time was running out. The aliens had already begun their final assault, this time with a terrifying new weapon. The Vortex Cannon. This device had the power to rip apart entire star systems, bending space and time to the will of its creators. It was clear that the aliens were not just aiming to conquer Earth, they were preparing to wipe it out completely. Earth's resistance had only one option: to strike before the aliens could use the Vortex Cannon. The only way to stop them was to activate the core before the aliens could get their hands on it, to take control of the power that had been hidden beneath the surface of Earth for millennia. In the final hours before the battle, as Earth's forces gathered for their last stand, Dr. Calloway made a shocking discovery: the key to activating the core was hidden within humanity's own memories. The genetic potential they carried wasn't just about power, it was about unlocking their deepest, most primal instincts. The memories, the dreams, and the history of Earth's people held the blueprint for unlocking the core's power. The realization was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Humanity had been living with the answers all along, but they hadn't known how to look. The final battle had begun, and humanity's survival, and the survival of the galaxy, depended on their ability to unlock the ancient power within them before the alien empire could destroy everything. The final convergence. As the hours ticked down, Earth's forces prepared for the impossible. The world was standing at the edge of oblivion, but there was a quiet determination in the air. Humans had always fought to survive, and now they were fighting for something much larger than their planet. They were fighting for the very essence of existence itself. Humanity was no longer just a small, insignificant species. They were the key, and the aliens knew it. General Claire Hastings, standing at the front of Earth's most advanced military command center, was already deep in thought. The resistance had grown stronger, more united than ever, but time was running out. The alien fleet hovered above, their vortex cannon ready to decimate the planet. Earth's weapons, though formidable, were still no match for the sheer power of the alien forces. If they didn't act now, it would be too late. The battle for Earth would be over before it even began. She turned to Dr. Calloway, who had just returned from the excavation site. His face was pale, his expression a mixture of urgency and confusion. "Doctor, what have you found?" General Hastings asked, her voice steady despite the looming threat. Dr. Calloway took a deep breath. "The object we discovered, it's not just a power source, it's a control mechanism. The aliens never intended to use it themselves, they wanted us to activate it, to unlock its potential, and now we're on the brink of understanding how." "What do you mean?" Hastings pressed, her mind racing. "The key to activating the core," Dr. Calloway explained, "is not in the technology, it's in us. We are the final piece of the puzzle: our biology, our minds, our memories. They are the key to unlocking the power hidden within the core." The aliens, they couldn't access it because they didn't understand how humans were designed. "We were built for this, to harness this power." Hastings absorbed the weight of the revelation. Humans weren't just pawns in this cosmic game, they were the players. The aliens had underestimated them, assuming they could simply conquer the planet and take control of the power beneath the surface. But they hadn't accounted for humanity's unique genetic makeup, a gift they had been given by the ancients, the very race that had seeded life across galaxies. The core wasn't just a weapon, it was a cosmic key, capable of reshaping the entire universe. Whoever controlled it had the power to alter space and time itself. But Dr. Calloway was right. Humanity was built to control it, not the aliens. General Hastings turned to her military commanders. "We have one shot at this. We need to strike before the vortex cannon is fired. We don't have the luxury of time." At that moment, the ground shook. The alien fleet had begun its final assault, launching a barrage of energy blasts toward Earth's largest cities. The first wave of destruction hit, and entire skylines disappeared in an instant. The alien attack had begun in earnest, and Earth had no choice but to retaliate with everything they had. But General Hastings wasn't focused on the cities. She knew that their survival didn't lie in brute force. It was in unlocking the power within the core, the power that was buried beneath the surface of Earth. The key to humanity's victory lay within the memories, the very essence of their existence. "Prepare the extraction team," she commanded. "We're going underground." In the heart of Earth's military complex, Dr. Calloway's team of scientists worked furiously to decode the final pieces of the puzzle. They had managed to unlock the core's energy, but they needed a human conduit to activate it, a person who could channel the power and unlock its potential. The only person capable of activating the core was someone with a deep connection to humanity's history, someone whose genes had been altered to understand the ancient power. That person was General Hastings herself. Hastings, the reluctant hero, understood what needed to be done. She was the bridge between humanity's past and its future. The legacy of the ancients lived within her, embedded in the very core of her being. As the vortex cannon charged for another devastating blast, she stepped forward, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice for Earth's survival. "Activate the core," she ordered. Her voice calm but resolute, the core, now glowing with an intense, otherworldly energy, responded to her presence. The ancient symbols on its surface began to pulse, and the very walls of the chamber seemed to hum with power. Hastings placed her hands on the core, feeling the energy surge through her. The knowledge of the ancients flooded her mind, images, sounds, and sensations that were not her own, yet felt strangely familiar. She saw the galaxy as it was meant to be, a vast network of interconnected life and energy. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the creation of stars and planets, and the ancient beings who had seeded life across the stars. And at the heart of it all, she saw humanity's true potential, the power to reshape the universe itself. With a deep breath, Hastings closed her eyes and focused on the core's energy. It was time to activate it. As the core responded, the very fabric of space-time seemed to bend. A wave of energy shot outward from the core, enveloping Earth's atmosphere in a brilliant pulse of light. The alien fleet, now in the midst of its assault, felt the shockwave ripple through their ships. The vortex cannon's energy faltered, its power disrupted by the force of humanity's activation. But that was only the beginning. General Hastings felt the power surge through her, and with one final push, she unlocked the core's full potential. The alien fleet, unable to withstand the energy coursing through the galaxy, began to disintegrate. Their ships, once powerful and unstoppable, were now consumed by the energy unleashed by Earth. The battle was over, the war was won. The unforeseen Legicide War had ended, but the battle for Earth's future was far from over. As the alien ships crumbled into cosmic dust, a wave of relief washed over humanity. Cities that had once trembled beneath the alien assault began to stir with life again. Earth's survivors, battered and scarred, began to rebuild, but there was something different now. The power that had been unlocked, the energy coursing through humanity, had changed everything. General Claire Hastings, standing at the ruins of what was once the heart of the alien invasion, felt the weight of her victory. Earth had survived, humanity had triumphed. But the cost of victory was steep for anyone to truly comprehend yet. The core that had been activated wasn't just a weapon, it was a key. An ancient force that had been dormant beneath Earth's surface for eons. Humanity had unleashed something far greater than they had ever anticipated. Dr. Calloway and his team had worked tirelessly to study the aftermath of the core's activation. The energy that had been unleashed by General Hastings wasn't just a defensive mechanism, it was a universal catalyst. The aliens hadn't just wanted to conquer Earth. They had sought to control it, to unlock the power that humanity unknowingly carried within them. What they hadn't known, however, was that the core had the ability to reshape reality itself. The first sign of this power manifested in the skies. Days after the battle, Earth's atmosphere began to change, subtle at first, but increasingly more noticeable. The stars themselves seemed to shift positions, as if the fabric of space-time had been twisted. The energy from the core had altered the universe's very structure, and Earth was at the center of it. What had once been a distant, unassuming planet had become the focal point of something much larger. General Hastings was called to a secret meeting with Dr. Calloway and Earth's leaders. "It's happening," Dr. Calloway said, his voice grave. "The core didn't just give us the power to defend ourselves. It has linked Earth to something bigger than anything we've ever known." "What do you mean?" Hastings asked, her brow furrowing. "I mean," Dr. Calloway continued, "that the core has unlocked the next phase of evolution. Earth is now connected to the very fabric of the galaxy. The war was never just about power, it was about Earth becoming a bridge, a nexus point where the forces of life and energy can converge. We've become part of a cosmic network." As Dr. Calloway spoke, the truth hit Hastings with a sudden force. The universe had never been a random expanse of stars and planets. It had been a living organism, a delicate balance of forces that had been carefully orchestrated by an ancient race, the Ancients. The Ancients had designed the universe to work in harmony, a vast system of energy that flowed through everything. Earth had always been a part of that system, but now humanity had unlocked the ability to control it. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a conduit to the cosmic forces that held the universe together. For days, Earth scientists studied the new reality, discovering that humanity's genetic makeup had evolved in a way that allowed them to tap into these forces. But there was a problem. The very energy that had been unleashed was not fully understood, and it began to have unpredictable effects. The more Earth's population tapped into this power, the more it began to change them. Some people began to experience strange abilities, flashes of insight, or inexplicable phenomena. It was as though the cosmic forces were coursing through them, shaping their perceptions and even their biology. While many tried to harness the power for good, there were those who sought to use it for their own gain. Earth's leaders were forced to take action to regulate the new powers. But the struggle to maintain control was just beginning. Humanity had become something different, something greater, and yet more dangerous than they had ever imagined. They were no longer simply humans, they were the guardians of the cosmic key. And with that power came responsibility. Some saw this as a blessing, a chance to unite the galaxy. Others saw it as a curse, a force that could unravel everything if left unchecked. As the months passed, Earth found itself at a crossroads. The old world was gone, replaced by something new, a world where the laws of nature no longer applied in the way they once had. And now, with the power of the ancients at their fingertips, humanity had to decide what kind of future they wanted. Would they use the cosmic power to unite the galaxy, as the ancients had once envisioned, or would they fall victim to the same temptations that had plagued other civilizations: greed, war, and corruption? General Hastings stood at the center of the new world, watching as the stars above Earth shifted and shimmered. The battle was won, but the true war had only just begun. The universe is waiting, Dr. Calloway said quietly, standing beside her. And now, Earth must decide whether it will become a force for balance or chaos. The future of humanity and the universe now rested in their hands.